Welcome back to another episode of Tough Men of Faith. RT Stringer's here.
I'm here. You ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. Every time we do one of these, it seems like we end up redoing our opening like 5 or 6 times. So now we're on time number 2 tonight. I think it's going to be okay.
This one's good to go.
It's like we both start laughing the whole time and Blake's counting down and, you know. Here we go. Let's.
Did you have a good week?
I'm having a great week, yeah.
Good.
You?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
It's early.
It is early.
So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so far.
What
so
are we-
far, not bad.
What are we doing? Go ahead.
I think we're going to jump into a little mini-series. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Kind of hit on one chapter, one book of the Bible, and just kind of work our way through it.
Going to look at 8 verses.
8 verses.
I think it's, I don't know how long, probably 4 episodes.
I think so.
Try to do 2 verses a week.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine actually request this last season.
Okay.
You know, I do enjoy listening to the podcast. What would you guys think about doing something like this? And, you know, I'm not saying I'm open to all of everyone's ideas, but maybe a few of them.
Yeah. Send your ideas to Nick.
Yeah, right.
His cell phone number is...
Yeah, please don't do that.
All right, so we're going to Old Testament.
Yep. We're going to Ecclesiastes, chapter 3.
Let's do it. You want to
Ready?
read? So we're going to do 8 verses.
Yeah.
Over 4 weeks, about 4 weeks.
Yep.
You want to read the first 8 verses?
I will. You
Or
ready?
the only 8 verses we're looking at?
Yeah, here
Go
we
ahead.
go. To everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace.
There's a lot there.
There is a lot there.
Now, I've never preached, I don't think I've ever preached from this book.
Really?
Yeah, so this is new for me here.
Don't you use this book quite a bit?
I use this this passage
Okay, I'm sorry, this passage.
at almost every funeral I do. I read this at the graveside right before we lower the casket.
Okay.
So if I outlive you,
Yeah. Then you're going
which I don't think is going to happen,
Oh,
just know
we'll see.
before they lower your casket, I'll probably read this passage for you.
I can't wait. I thought you did like the dust to dust and ashes to ashes thing.
Yeah, I'll throw that one in there too.
What if I get cremated? Then you have to do it that way.
The dust to dust? Well, you just tell me what you want. Just go ahead.
Okay. It's like
But-
the movie Pulp Fiction. Did you watch that?
I have not seen that.
That's
no.
probably a good thing.
Yeah, that's...
What's the verse he says right before he kills someone every time?
Is Pulp Fiction like a Bible movie?
Loosely based, yeah.
Oh my. By the look Blake's giving me over here, I think you're lying to me, so I'm not going to watch it.
Okay,
Back
yeah.
to this. All right, so this passage, I do read it at funerals just because I think there's so much truth there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because really a funeral's for the people there.
Yeah, it's not for the person that's already passed.
Yeah. Yeah, so this book, the book of Ecclesiastes, I probably should do some more studying. Probably written, I say probably, most people agree it's written by King Solomon.
Yeah.
Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I have.
Wisest man to ever live.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you think that's you? Or
No, it's not. Definitely not me.
he calls himself a preacher in the book. It's like the way he kind of calls himself.
Yeah.
Written before 900 BC, so we're going back a few years.
Yeah.
He was a king, and he talks about in the book like vanity of vanities, like everything's vanity.
Yeah.
He's saying he has everything, so you got to think.
Yeah, you had everything.
Had everything. Richest man around.
Yeah.
He had money, he had nice places to live. Anything he wanted, he could just buy.
Yep.
So like for me, I could just go out and buy my Ford Raptor today.
Right. And your Ford GT.
All of that. I
Yeah.
could just go out and buy it right away.
Right.
The other thing he had is he had all the women.
Yeah, you'd have multiple girlfriends.
No,
They'd
see,
be
that's not what I
waiting
know.
inside your vehicle for
No,
you to
no.
come and drive them around.
No.
No.
That's not what I was saying. But he had
Yeah.
money and women and
Right.
everything that
He had multiple women in his chariots waiting on him to get there.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm getting off that. Sorry.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think what he's trying to tell us is that he had everything the world would say you would want.
Yeah. All of the worldly values.
And you'd feel accomplished or you've arrived.
Right.
He's like, it's all vanity. Like it's all meaningless.
Which is great because it is.
It is.
Yeah.
But even in our minds, we don't like the Powerball, whatever it was. I don't play the lottery, but a few weeks ago, it's like billions of dollars or something stupid.
We didn't win.
Yeah, we did not. We're
Yeah.
still doing the podcast.
Still
We
doing
didn't
the
win.
podcast. Yeah.
But I was thinking, man, if I had all that,
Right.
life would be good.
Yeah, it'd be different.
It'd be different. But Solomon's saying, nope, it's all vanity. Like, even if you get all that, it's still going to seem meaningless.
Okay.
Do you not agree with him?
I agree with him to a degree.
Okay.
It's just going to make, the Powerball's going to make life easier. But it is all vanity.
It's going to make life different. I don't know about easier.
Yeah, I think it's going to make it easier.
Well, money does make some things easier, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is, but I would say that's more when you're a good financial steward. Like, it's easier for me now because I can pay my electric bill every month.
Absolutely.
Where if I go back a few years ago, there was a time when that was a real struggle for me.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yep.
Which makes my marriage better because my wife's not worried about the electricity being turned off.
Yeah, exactly.
So, which for me, I thought was a good thing. We'd have to cuddle close.
Right. Yeah.
She didn't look at it that way.
Right.
Which led to less cuddling. Which I should probably not talk about my wife. I'm going to let you say the stupid stuff.
I'm trying to get away from that too.
Okay.
My wife's kind of been beating me a little bit here lately, and
Do you not feel safe at home?
I feel pretty safe at home,
Yeah.
but it's, it's her home, so
It is her house. We've been through this.
yeah, we've been through this, and I just don't want to get the boot from her house.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want you on my couch. 'Cause
Right.
You probably wouldn't fit. So, okay, back to this.
Yep.
So saying all is vanity, I was thinking of it this way: is that I remember when I was 18, I wrote down the goals for my life.
Okay.
And I carried them in my wallet everywhere I went. I had them.
Yeah.
They went something like this: I wanted to complete college.
Okay.
I wanted to become an Army officer.
Okay.
I wanted to finish grad school, and then I wanted to be a pastor and get married.
Okay.
So at 18, I had it figured out. I carried it around.
Yeah, you pretty much done all that, right?
The problem is, I did all that by the time I was 25.
Great. So you had to write up new goals.
So then I remember one day, like looking back, it's like, I've accomplished everything I set out to accomplish in life. And I'm 25 years
and you're
old.
25.
And it's not like a great, like that I did great because now it's like, look at me, what all I've done. I was like,
You're an Army officer at 25?
yeah. And then I was like, this is all like meaning, like it doesn't really mean that much. Like I thought I would feel different when I got married or when I mean, marriage is great, but
Right,
I
it
thought
is
that
great.
like I would have arrived, man,
Look at
Listen,
you. You're going off
listen.
the rails today.
I thought that life would look like this, be so fulfilling once I did all these things.
Right.
And I had it wrote down. I'd worked so hard for it it seemed like eternity, but for 7 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I look back, I'm like, no, it's not. Like there has to be more to life than these things.
Right.
And so I think that's what Solomon's saying. Hey, I've accomplished everything that the world would think you should accomplish, and it's still meaningless.
That's someone we could really learn from.
Learn through someone who's been through it. So
Yeah.
I just feel like you're just sitting over there laughing at me today.
I'm
like,
not. I'm
watching me dig.
I'm taking a lot of
deeper.
things in right now.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Well, I look forward to using this passage at your funeral. So
Great. I can't wait to die so you can use it.
just stay out of the attics.
Yeah, right.
If you die this week, I'm gonna regret saying that, but
For a short while.
it's true.
I might have a really good life insurance by then. And,
Do you tithe off life insurance?
I don't know. Ask the wife.
Okay.
If I die, ask her if she ties 10% from the life insurance payout.
All right. So here's what's going on in this passage. Back to the passage. He puts things together like opposites.
Yeah.
He puts, hey, there's a time to die.
A time to be born.
A time to be born. There's a time for peace. There's a time for war. And so he starts out the passage with saying there's different seasons in life.
Right.
I think is what he's saying. So
I think he's saying timing is everything.
timing is everything. So there's a time to be born and a time to die.
Right.
Which can sound depressing.
Sounds like a Beatles song.
Does it?
A little bit.
I don't know if I ever listened to the Beatles. I mean, I'm sure I've heard a couple of their songs,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so a time to be born, a time to die.
Yep.
So he's saying, hey, there is a time when you're going to die.
Yep.
So I think we need to make sure that we live with that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to and to be ready for that.
Yeah, because life goes quick, right?
Really quick.
I mean, can you believe how old you are now?
30s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Late 30s.
Late 30s.
Yeah.
It gets harder to say once you get out of the 30s, even, I think.
Does
So,
it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
speak from experience.
Okay. Just slightly over 30s.
Okay, so it starts out saying, hey, you guys need to realize that your time's coming when you're going to die.
Yep.
So there's another place in Ecclesiastes, he talks about living with the backdrop of eternity. I've always liked looking at it that way, that
Yeah.
eternity's coming.
Right.
So what you do now matters for eternity. So are you good? Like, how are you living now?
Yep. And are you prepared?
Are you prepared? So
Are
it
you,
leads to his next verse,
Yep.
where it says there's a time to plant and a time to pluck, which is planted.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on
Pluck.
that verse? Pluck.
Pluck with a P. Yeah.
So he
Sorry.
says there's a
That's not what
time-
it sounded like you said the first time.
let me work on this.
Yeah.
There's a time to plant and a time to pluck
Yep.
that which is planted.
Right.
Right.
It kind of goes into the same as a time to be born and a time to die.
It does.
You're sowing your seeds, and then you're harvesting. You're plucking what is planted, and kind of the same.
I was even thinking about but if you don't plant, or depending on what you plant,
Yeah,
you may not like what you harvest.
exactly.
We kind of talked about this at church yesterday.
We did.
I mean, it's kind of just rolling into it.
It's funny. It's like three different times in the last 24 hours, 48 hours. We've talked about this.
Maybe God's trying to tell you something.
I need to make sure that I'm planting something good to pluck it later.
Yes. Yeah, or harvest
Or
works
harvest.
as well.
Yes.
So let's make sure that you are
Putting good seeds in the ground.
putting good seeds in the ground.
Yeah.
So that you
there's
harvest,
a good harvest later on.
the right thing. That's such a great concept to think about.
Yep.
Because, I mean, yesterday we talked about it in a lot of different areas. Driving home, I realized I may have offended a few people
That happens.
with the fat joke. It wasn't a fat joke. I just said that a lot of times
Joke. It was just 9 people turned around and looked at me.
that's when they looked at you, right?
That's one of the times that they looked at me. Yeah.
I wasn't being mean.
I know, and I don't think you were really calling me out per se.
No. Here's all I said.
But they thought that you were.
Well, here, let me tell you, I just said that many times. And we're using this concept.
Your eyes just drifted from my eyes down to my gut, back up
Yeah.
to my eyes again. Thank you.
I was saying there's this
I'll
concept.
start wearing baggier shirts in here. Go ahead.
Listen, you don't want me to say this, do you? All I said was there's this concept that I believe it's a biblical principle. Whatever you plant, that's what you're going to harvest.
Absolutely.
So I used the concept of
You
if
did.
you plant beans, you're going to harvest beans. Not bananas.
Right.
Is
If
what I
you
said
plant
yesterday.
donuts, you're going to harvest a fat gut, is what you said.
Okay, and that I should have used that yesterday.
And I love donuts, and you know
Yeah.
this. You have a brother-in-law that works at Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
And I send him pictures every time. Every time I support my friend's small business.
Yeah.
Or so I say. I send him a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just said that a lot of times we look back in life,
Right.
and for 20 years you haven't been, not talking about you, but
Yeah.
someone,
Right.
not been exercising,
Yeah.
eating fast food all the time, visiting the donut shop all the time.
Right.
And then after 20 years, you find yourself really overweight,
Right.
and you're having a lot of health problems.
Yeah.
And then we look to God and say, God, why are you doing
Yeah.
this
Why
to
did
me?
you do this to me?
Why am I suffering, God? Why am
Yeah.
I going to the doctor and he's telling me all these things are wrong with me? And we blame God as if it's his fault.
Right.
It's like, well, for 20 years, you've loved McRibs and donuts.
Exactly.
And not exercising, and you enjoy playing video games 3 to 4 hours a day.
Yeah, you tried every fried crap there is at the state fair.
Yeah, you
and,
love the
Then
state
you
fair?
had a dozen of them, and I think I just offended someone. And and then you wonder why,
Yeah.
you're not
So-
the healthiest later in life.
That's all I was saying yesterday.
Right.
And then people got to start texting me.
Yeah.
Were you talking about me? Nope. But if the shoe fits.
Right.
Or doesn't.
Or
Or
doesn't
doesn't
fit.
fit.
Because you have fat feet, because you eat crap food.
But
Sorry,
it's
go ahead.
not it's not just health.
Yeah.
We talked about marriage.
Right.
If you don't invest in your marriage,
Right.
and you go home every night, you don't spend time talking to your wife, you
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Play
You
video
Yeah, you
games
watch
or
TV or
you're
you play video
disconnected.
games, and you're not, connecting with your wife.
Yeah, don't expect to connect in another way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Don't
You-
expect any connections.
Yeah. I think older guys know what you mean by connection there.
I think so. If
gotta-
not, we could really spell it out for them.
We could. I gave you no, I didn't give your number out earlier.
Yeah, that's
Shoot
good.
Nick a Facebook message and
I think he's talking about the sex.
Yeah.
There's guys here listening. It's okay.
yeah.
And we're married. Well, the guys that are listening mostly are married, and it's okay.
Even if they're not, they may be someday.
Yeah.
So they need to know how to treat a woman.
Wow.
Uh,
This is great.
Okay, but
Let's
no,
move
but
on.
no. I don't want to move on yet. This real
Okay,
quick. Let me
yeah.
let me clarify a couple of things.
Go ahead.
All right. Here's the deal. You can't expect to have a great marriage if you're not planting the right seed. So if you're looking at porn every night,
Wait a minute. Which seed are you planting?
we're going there.
We went there. Great.
If you're planting porn every night in your marriage, and that's
Right.
what you're looking at.
Exactly.
How do you expect to have a great marriage?
Right.
Because you're not investing in your wife. But
Right.
if you're coming home from work and you are spending time with your wife,
And-
you're listening to how her day went,
Yep.
and buying her flowers or whatever her love language
Investing
is.
in her and building her up.
Yes.
But you're showing her how she is the one person that that has your eye,
Mm-hmm.
and you're building her up, putting her on a pedestal. Things
Things happen.
get great.
Yeah, they
you
do.
know.
They get better.
Yeah, not better. They go great.
That's true.
From
Yeah.
a married point of view.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
That I wish, which you got to learn, you got to grow into it.
Yep.
My marriage would have been a lot better at year 1 than what it is right now, year 20, if I would have been different. I remember thinking back then it was always Karen's fault. It's like,
Yeah.
if my wife she needs to do this, she needs to stop doing this.
Right.
And now looking back, like, no, I was a jerk.
Yeah.
And if I would have treated her differently, my marriage would have been a lot
Yep.
better.
And if I wanted her to do something, I could have guided her into that direction, but not expecting it.
Yeah, so
And,
basically
and that's what it is. It's building. It's a relationship, and you're building it together.
Yeah,
And
you're planting.
You're both planting. You're both harvesting.
Yeah. Health, marriage, any other.
Yeah, I've been working
finances.
on this health thing a lot lately.
You have. Are you still riding your bicycle?
Yeah. Every other night, I ride 10 to 20 miles.
Mhm.
I'm trying to do something different.
Good. The third one that I
Yeah.
talked about yesterday that really hit me this week is, as I alluded to, the Dave Ramsey. He has a new book came out,
Yeah.
Everyday Millionaire,
Yeah.
which you guys should get it and read it. That was a little depressing to people, I think, because, I mean, even to me, because I remember
Yeah.
I shared that 20 years ago, I remember hearing Dave Ramsey live.
Right.
He's like, if you do these things, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, you'll
And
be a millionaire.
they're small things.
Right.
And now you have all these millionaires running around who are just ordinary average people,
Yep.
but they've been following these principles for years. So
Exactly.
planting the right seeds,
Yeah.
and then eventually you harvest. So I
Yeah.
think our problem is we want to,
Yeah, they didn't do anything special.
they didn't.
They just started with small steps, and they just kept those small steps going every day. And yeah, they added on to them, and and I think that's a good way to look at pretty much all aspects of life. I think you brought it up. If you just read your Bible for 3 minutes a day, 4 days a week, or 2 days a week, it's more than not reading it whatsoever. If you just listen to a podcast, for guys reaching out to help other guys, if you just listen to, one episode a week for 20 to 30 minutes,
Yeah.
there
There you go. That's a good plug.
you. Tough man of faith.
Yeah. But have you thought about this thing that it says there's a time to plant?
Yeah,
The problem is planting is hard work.
it is.
So the farmer can't harvest in the fall if he doesn't work really hard in the spring.
Right.
So we miss a lot of opportunities, I think, to plant because we just don't want to work.
I get that.
Like, it's easier to go home and sit and watch YouTube videos all night and not engage with your family or
Yeah.
work for a charity or nonprofit or do something meaningful.
I mean, look what we're kind of doing here. We're kind of planting,
Mhm.
and we're hoping for the harvest one day.
Yeah.
One day everyone's going to hopefully kneel at God's feet and praise Him.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're there, and hopefully someone has planted in you and invested in you, and, you get the harvest later on.
Yeah. It's Thomas Edison said, I wrote this down, opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed up in overalls and looks like work.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
That is really good.
I just applied that to planting. Like, a lot of people miss the opportunity to plant because
Yeah.
it looks
Looks
really
like hard work.
And it is hard work.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think that goes back to kind of start tying this together. It goes back to that first verse of there's a time to die.
Right.
So there is a time coming when you're going to die, but now's the time to plant.
Right.
Right. Now's not the time. There's some harvest that will come now.
Right.
But now's our planting season. Now's our spring. Now's when we get to work really hard
Right.
for the backdrop of eternity, which is coming. The harvest is
Exactly.
coming. So
Yep. Which will be the harvest, the great harvest.
yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing to work through this. I hope it's been helpful today.
Yeah.
It has been for me just to talk to this
Yeah.
through this.
It's funny that you can just read that 10 times to yourself, but if you really just get sitting down with somebody and talk to them and just kind of break it down, it's amazing how much more you can get from it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Think about
it's easy.
Think about it this way. I wrote this down too. Is that so? We talk about life's going to be short. You need to work hard. If you know, like, your life was going to last 8 decades,
Yeah.
or if you know your life is only going to last another 8 months,
Yeah.
what would you be doing right now?
Would you want to know what
Probably
your last day is?
no.
Really?
Would you?
No, I don't think so.
No, I would.
I used to say that I would,
but it's coming.
but I think it'd be like a countdown.
Yeah, it would be.
There'd be just so much that I'd be trying to do, and whatever amount of time it is, I don't think I'd want to know.
No,
I'd
I
rather
wouldn't
just go.
All right. So here's the question: what are you planting now to get ready for it? So,
Right.
Anything else to add?
I don't think so.
All right.
Tune in next week, though, as we kind of dive into this a little deeper and start working on a few more verses. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, looking forward to next week. So
Yeah.
we'll see you guys then.